Now there was a Lodha commission created by the government of India in order to look into the matters of gambling and betting. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया के द्वारा RM लोढ़ा कमीशन बनाई गई, जिसमें कि उन्होंने गैम्बलिंग और बेटिंग को लीगलाइज करने के लिए निर्णय लिया. नाउ ही पुट फोर्थ दैट BCCI IPL regulation should be legalized and strengthening regulatory watchdog should be there, and there should be declaration of income and assets by the players as well as board authorities, जो भी board authorities as well as the players who are taking part in IPL as well as the activities of board of control for cricket in India, उनके द्वारा अपनी activities को प्रदर्शित करना होगा, and it should be legalized, and details of their income and assets in the sake of transparency. Further, now the next news which makes the headline is the international relations of 50 years of Indo-Russia relationship. So Indo-Russia became a very important in the current scenario of Ukraine-Russia war. So Russia is being one of the old friend of India. अगर हम वर्ल्ड मैप देखते हैं फ्रेंड्स, then there is such part and there is a sea, then this is India, China, and this part of the world is called as Russia. Russia is one of the bigger country in the world map, and it plays a huge relationship with India in terms of nuclear armaments, nuclear plants, missile deals, in terms of S-400, then T-90 tank, Vajra, plus satellite launch, plus military training and modernization. इन सब में रशिया इंडिया का पार्टनर है. फर्दर इंडिया हैज़ ए ह्यूज टर्नओवर विथ रशिया in terms of their cotton textile, in terms of their food and logistics, in terms of their eatables. Then gas and oil also is being exported from Russia, imported from Russia, gas and oil. Further imports of various commodities and lithium. Now in 1971 there was a treaty on peace and friendship by Indira Gandhi government. 1971 में क्या हो रहा था फ्रेंड्स? There was war between India and Pakistan. So India and Bangladesh के बीच में युद्ध चल रहा था, इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान के बीच में, and US ship was coming to attack India. So USSR came in between and helped India in 1971 by making a new treaty that is called as Peace, Friendship and Cooperation Treaty 1971. So this treaty again makes a very important part of Russia and India relationship by adding loyalty of lofty ideal equality, and people of the nation, condemns colonialism and maintains regular contracts with each other on the matters of international problems, and cooperation in the parties abstain from providing any assistance in terms of any third party or any armed conflict. किसी भी दूसरे देशों के द्वारा अगर armed conflict होता है, then there will be Russia which will help India to counter that kind of armed conflict, whether it is NATO member or whether it is USA or any kind of hostile nation. Then Russia will be there to support India. Further, it will take effective measure to ensure peace and security. It will also provide economic, scientific and technological support in operations of various nature to India. Further, it expands mutual advantage, comprehensive cooperation in these fields, and under principles of equality, mutual benefit and most favored nation. तो भारत और रूस समानता की संधि है, भारत और रूस के बीच मोस्ट फेवर्ड नेशंस की ट्रीटी है, एंड इट बिकम्स मोस्ट म्यूचुअल बेनिफिशियल पार्टनर्स फ्रॉम इंडिया एंड रशिया. Now, significance of treaty goes for strategic autonomy. India can take a strategic autonomy by taking a self decision by making any kind of purchase of strategic weapons and strengthening the country on strategic autonomy in terms of nuclear weapons, missiles or any defense programs. Further, there is an international pact between India and Russia that takes the international pact entered by India since independence. Then there is convergence of interest, that treaty symbolizes alignment of interest face of regional and international challenges. क्षेत्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय चुनौतियों के बीच रशिया और इंडिया की ये ट्रीटी महत्वपूर्ण रूप से साबित होती है. While the treaty was historical importance, concluded era of going by and leading India and Russia on the 21st century, characterized as special and privileged strategic partnership, then strategic importance of Indian-Russian relationship. That means there is a strategic relationship between India and Russia in terms of defense partnership, then joint development, marketing, selling, export of the weapons as well as the tanks, missiles, other technological measures that are created by Russia and India in a joint venture. Now, the data shows the bilateral trade cooperation between Russia, India and China. So, in terms of Russia and China, we see that a huge lead taken by China in terms of cooperation in 2014. This part of graph shows Russia-China cooperation, friends. We see that India is again 9.5%, reduced to 7.83, again reduction to 7.7, further rise to 10.71 in 2017. On the other hand, India-US partnership rises to 74.83% and Russia-China partnership grown from 69 to 84.07%. Remember this data for your prelims as well as mains point of view. Now, India-Afghanistan relationship. So, there is key development after Taliban takeover. India conduct Operation Devi Shakti, evacuation more than 800 people from Afghanistan and citizens from establishment of Taliban government. So, क्या हो गया है अफगानिस्तान में? There is Taliban government, Doha, which is focused on safety, security and early return of Indian people from the Taliban. Then there is UN Security Council adopting resolution condemning the deadly attack in Afghanistan and requiring the Taliban to honor their commitment and to let the freedom of Afghanistan and risk all combating terrorism and upholding their human rights. Their संवैधानिक अधिकारों को और मानवीय अधिकारों को बचाने के लिए इस प्रकार की ट्रीटी लाई गई है. Still that is under challenge. US has frozen $9.5 billion of assets belonging to Afghanistan Central Bank, stop shipment of cash to the nation. So there is point to note that Operation Devi Shakti, this can be asked in the UPSC and other examination. Operation Devi Shakti. Following the biggest international evacuation, ऑपरेशन सुकून वाज देयर इन 2006. 2006 में भारत के द्वारा अफगानिस्तान में ऑपरेशन सुकून लाया गया. देन देयर वाज ऑपरेशन सेफ होम कमिंग इन 2011, देन ऑपरेशन राहत इन 2015. सो भारत सरकार के द्वारा ये सारे मिशंस लाए गए टू प्रोटेक्ट इंडियन पीपल इन कन्फ्लिक्ट जोन ऑफ यमन. Then Operation Safe Homecoming from Libya war people. Then Operation Sukoon, Sri Lankan and Nepali citizen from war hit Lebanon. Devi Shakti not first expedition by government of India. Remember this fact for a prelims point of view. Taliban influence is shown that there was a boundary which shows the area covered by Taliban in this ratio, which again rises to various parts of Afghanistan and keep on the 100% coverage of Taliban government. Now, next part is Indian investment in Afghanistan, which makes a huge investment in Kabul, and there is friendship dam by India in Afghanistan. So, अफगानिस्तान के विकास के लिए इंडिया ने फ्रेंडशिप डैम बनाया. इंडिया इन्वेस्टेड इन पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग ऑफ अफगानिस्तान and modernization of Afghanistan, then construction of Jaranj Dilram road. Remember this road, Jaranj Dilram road को भारत सरकार ने बनाया अफगानिस्तान में. हाई इम्पैक्टिंग कम्युनिटी डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट, again very important project by government of India, which failed due to this Taliban government. Transfer of various ambulances, buses, biscuits, medicines, military vehicle Mi-25 and 35 choppers from India to Afghanistan. Airbus aircraft was also transferred to Afghanistan. Then material for substances and transmission on the Faryab province of Afghanistan, and ambulances for public hospital in Afghanistan was done by Indian government. Further, people to people exchanges in form of offers to Afghanistan citizen and gain knowledge and experience from India. It also lists the advantage of Afghan institutions offering scholarship program for Afghani students. Afghani students को छात्रवृत्ति योजना भी प्रोवाइड की गई भारत सरकार के द्वारा. That again makes the news. And training for the Afghanistan soldiers, policemen and public servant. So Indian civil services को जैसे ट्रेनिंग होती है लबासना में, in the same way the training was being provided to the Afghani people in the Indian Administrative Services Academy, then Indian Police Service Academy in Mussoorie, and in Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Academy in Hyderabad, also training the Afghani people. So such kind of training was being provided from the government of India. Now next news is Indo-Sri Lanka news and ties, which was a part of the news. So there was multiple issues which govern the most part, that is fisherman issue, then boundary issue. So Chinese card played by Sri Lanka, and various parts of the Sri Lankan new Prime Minister headed by Rajapaksa was taking part in the various activities in the development of China, such as port, harbors, roads and railways. That was again a Chinese debt trap. So it leads to a trust deficit problem. It goes for ethics again. And there is cancellation of Sampurna coal power and comprehensive economic partnership agreement with India, and Kankasenthurai project was also cancelled by Sri Lanka. So India's political relations goes in 2020 virtual summit joined by Mitrawa Magga, covering all areas of bilateral relations. Then commercial relations by Sri Lanka remained among the largest trade partners of SAARC nation. Cultural ties goes on Ashoka period, when there was a capital children Arhat, Mahindra and Tehri Sanghamitra also played a part of spreading Buddhism in Sri Lanka. So Samrat Ashok के बेटे संघमित्रा, महिंद्रा, अरहट, जिन्होंने वहाँ पे जाके अपने धर्म का प्रचार प्रसार किया. Then Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, Indian Technician and Economic Cooperation Program, Study in India, Tourism, etc. are added by the Indian people and Indian government. Now development cooperation in terms of partnership for housing project, 50,000 household water has been added by government of India for their workers and plantation areas. Military exercise goes for Mitra Shakti, INS and NSS exercise, Samvedana and Synex exercises with Sri Lanka. So there are various kind of treaties and exchanges between India and Sri Lanka so far. So there is Buddhist exchange, there is Buddhism, which again plays a crucial role. Then resolving fisherman issues, which take part in Indo-Sri Lanka issues. Fisherman goes inside the Sri Lankan boundary. Building connectivity in terms of internet and broadband. Then travel and investment partnership with Indian travelers and Sri Lankan travelers for tourism and travel agencies, then promoting religious links in terms of Buddhism and Hinduism. Further adding the handing over of sacred Sita temple stone, माता सीता का sacred stone वहाँ पे रखा गया है in terms of period of Rama, and which is to be carried to Ayodhya. Again a cultural and historical point of view. Now Sri Lanka roadmap to restore ties with India. रोड मैप पे भी इंडिया के द्वारा टाई अप किया गया है. रिमेंबर दिस फैक्ट फॉर ए प्रिलिम्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. सो देयर इज अ रामेश्वरम in which Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was living, again very famous place, and again there is Dhanushkodi, then Kacha Thivu that makes a point of issue by fishermen. तो भारत के मछुआरे यहाँ पे चले जाते हैं तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ श्रीलंका या श्रीलंका की नेवी क्या करती है, उन्हें कैप्चर कर लेती है और दे केप द फिशरमैन इनटू देयर ओन जेल्स. दैट इज अगेन अ प्रॉब्लम. देन देयर इज जाफना पार्क एंड पार्क स्ट्रीट which connect this Rameshwaram, that again makes a huge issue between India and Sri Lanka. Remember this fact for your prelims and mains point of view. So fishermen issues goes beyond a sensitive area of Tamil Nadu, and past one decade, then early 2021 4 fishermen lost their lives. Fishermen from Tamil Nadu coast sailed towards Kalai Mannar, remember this point, and Kacha Thivu. फिशरमैन कलई मन्नार और कच्छा तीवू पे जाते हैं जहाँ पे श्रीलंकन नेवी के द्वारा उन्हें पकड़ के कैद कर लिया जाता है, एंड दे आर जेल्ड विदाउट एनी कॉज, बट दे आर फिशरमैन, दे हैव टू डू देयर सर्वाइवल. देन श्रीलंकन वेयर टेकन किल्ड बाय श्रीलंकन नेवी, एंड कच्छा तीवू इज एन uninhabited volcanic island in the Park Strait area. कच्छा तीवू ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे कोई भी व्यक्ति रहता नहीं है, uninhabited island. Now recent skimmers in Indo-Sri Lanka issues is scrapping of East Container Terminal. East Container Terminal को 51% share by ECT of India and next share by the Sri Lanka. So under the influence of China, East Coast port जो है उसको श्रीलंकन गवर्नमेंट ने रिफ्यूज कर दिया है बनाने से under influence of China. Then again 70% of transshipment business is done by this Sri Lankan link terminal to the India. Then it also have a geostrategic interest for India, and proximity of Colombo port in the city being developed by the Chinese. So that is again a issue by Chinese interference in the development of Sri Lanka. Jaffna hybrid energy project made by Chinese company, and which makes to contraction of hybrid renewable energy projects in Sri Lanka. So India is also pushing its bid for the development of energy based projects as well as transportation corridor, tourism corridor in Sri Lanka, but Sri Lanka is refusing such sectors due to the influence of Chinese governance, and Jaffna is again under the influence of the government. So issue of economic cooperation is done by the Chinese army, and that again currency swap agreement is again the Sri Lankan and the government.